This Week with Bob Mueller on News 2.
This week,
public safety is something that matters to every Tennessean.
Governor Lee calls a special session on public safety as his fellow Republicans promise to defeat gun reform, red flag laws, or enhanced orders of protection.
They are in fear.
Parents of the Parkland school shooting victims bust to Nashville, urging lawmakers to approve gun restrictions.
This isn't just an urban issue. This is a rural issue as well.
With the special session looming, new data shows a stark increase in school shootings in Tennessee in the last 5 years.
We will continue to reach out to lawmakers to seek justice.
They call themselves the Save TSU Community Coalition. Their focus, $500 million they say the state owes the historic black university.
The redistricting plan attacked African American voters.
A lawsuit is filed challenging what the plaintiffs call Tennessee's blatantly discriminatory redistricting plan. Hello again and welcome to another edition of This Week. A special session on public safety will take place as a new report shows gun violence in Tennessee schools is on the rise. Relatives of a Parkland school shooting victim visit Nashville urging passage of gun reform laws. TSU claims the state owes the historic black college $500 million. We begin, though, Governor Lee calling a special legislative session despite major pushback from his own party. The scope of this special session is broad but not focused on guns or firearms. There are 18 topics lawmakers can pass bills on, ranging from mental health to juvenile crime and human trafficking. It does allow the governor to put forward a bill he said would make it harder for dangerous people to have access to firearms. But that's a non-starter for Republicans, and it's not enough for the Covenant families and Democrats. Here's News 2's Adam Mintzer.
It's really concerning. I think the governor has opened Pandora's box here.
Moments after it was officially announced, reactions to the governor's call for a special session are coming in. Tennessee House Republican leaders writing, quote, "We look forward to the opportunity to strengthen public safety and mental health resources without infringing on the rights of law-abiding Tennesseans." But Republicans in the State House have said they don't support everything on the governor's list.
The call does include language that would accommodate the filing of his proposed extreme risk protection order. As we've discussed, I do not anticipate that passing, and I do not support it.
Democratic Caucus Chair Representative John Ray Clemens says the call misses the original purpose of the special session, protecting school kids after the Covenant shooting.
I'm embarrassed for the state of Tennessee. The governor has failed them, and he's obviously wilted in the face of strong opposition from special interests and extremist legislators. And so I would just like to apologize to Tennessee families because their elected officials are failing them.
And he's concerned about the many mentions of the juvenile justice system.
It appears they are seeking to undo years of progress on criminal justice reforms. All of that is possible with the language of this proclamation.
With the special session now just weeks away, new data shows a stark increase in school shootings in Tennessee in the last 5 years. State Capitol reporter Chris O'Brien breaks down the numbers.
A new Tennessee Comptroller memo shows there have been 49 school shootings in Tennessee since 1998. It peaked in the early 2000s at 5 in the 2004-2005 school year, but stayed at that number or fewer after, until the 2021-2022 school year when it spiked to 9, followed by 8 last year.
And you're seeing a huge spike in rural areas across the state of Tennessee. This isn't just an urban issue. This is a rural issue as well, and that's where you're seeing the steepest increase.
The Comptroller's office delivered the memo to Oak Ridge Republican Representative John Reagan, who did point out the overall number of shootings is relatively low compared to how many schools and students we have. But still, Reagan acknowledges we shouldn't have any.
School shooting issue is one that definitely deserves attention. Even though it is low probability, high impact, it's still important for us to keep our children safe when we by law require them to be in school.
Democrats have been staunch in their belief for gun reform.
So we can't turn our schools into fortresses. We need to focus on the root cause of the problem and look at this as a macro issue of how are these firearms made available to these children? How are these firearms made available to people who have and are exhibiting behavioral health issues?
Republicans have held firm that mental health and school safety are the avenues to take. Reagan pointed to his own experience in the military.
You put as many barriers between you and the attacker as is reasonably possible, giving yourself time to respond to the attack before it becomes fatal.
Though House Democratic Caucus Chairman John Ray Clemens says there shouldn't be an opportunity to attack in the first place. In Nashville, Chris O'Brien.
From the 2018 Waffle House shooting to Covenant, Nashville is no stranger to mass violence. That's why a national bus tour is making a stop here with a special message. On board are two Parkland parents marking what would have been their son's 23rd birthday. News 2's Nikki McGee spoke with them.
2 days ago, Joaquin Oliver, also known as Guac, would have celebrated his 23rd birthday. And although he's not here, his parents are. And they're using the occasion to call for change.
Stop gun violence.
This school bus is now on its way across the country, equipped with a stage on top for rallies and concerts against gun violence.
This issue is being on the road for many, many, many years. So if we go from Columbine, you can tell already there being more than 20 years. And we're still stuck at the same place.
Columbine was one stop where Patricia Oliver says families feel forgotten 2 decades later. Tonight's stop in Nashville is also a stop close to her heart, as they've connected with families after the Waffle House mass shooting and more recently, Covenant families. One top of mind is a mom whose child did make it out okay.
She cries and she feels that she was lucky. Every time one parent the kid is a survivor of any situation like this, they are in fear. They live in constantly fear, thinking about the fact that they could be losing the kid that day.
Ahead of Tennessee's special session, Patricia Oliver urges lawmakers to consider banning assault weapons. And she leaves them with this message.
Please listen, open your heart, be rational, and do what you have to do. That's why you have your position there.
One new gun restriction is already off the table. It deals with stolen guns. The governor blocked any new punishment for people whose guns are stolen because they left them unsecured, even though police say stolen guns are fueling crime. Here's News 2's Stephanie Langston.
I think we have an epidemic of gun thefts, which we know are being used in crimes.
It's a plea leaders across the state can't seem to reiterate enough.
Do you know where your firearm is at this moment? If it's unsecured in the vehicle, do something about that right now.
Metro Police data from August 3rd saying so far this year, 729 guns have been stolen from vehicles in Nashville. In 2022, a record 1,378 guns stolen out of vehicles.
The problem there is these guns are getting in the hands of the younger population. They're using these guns, or either selling it in the black market or going around committing more crimes, robberies, burglaries, other violent crimes, killing people. We recently had a gun that was stolen from one of our vehicles that was used in a murder in another county. So it happens.
Governor Bill Lee's proclamation on the upcoming special session urges the legislature to consider measures encouraging the safe storage of firearms, but it bans any new penalties.
Top 20 cities in the United States for gun thefts, Tennessee has 4 of them. Basically, all of our big cities are leading the country when it comes to gun thefts. And so we have to do something on safe storage.
Senator Jeff Yarborough sponsored a bill last legislative session that would make it illegal to keep a firearm in a vehicle or boat unless it is locked within the trunk or glove box, legislation that was never considered following the Covenant School shooting.
Which I think was irresponsible then and still irresponsible now. I fully intend to either bring, safe storage legislation or work with others to do so.
Now to our This Week cover story. They are calling themselves the Save TSU Community Coalition. Their focus is centered around $500 million they say the state of Tennessee owes the historic Black University. Here's News 2's Maya Owens.
Inside the Pleasant Green Missionary Baptist Church, instead of a normal church service. It's a meeting they say has been building up for years.
Here we are. Once again, speaking to lawmakers who appear to have deaf ears.
Tonight, a renewed push for money they claim has been owed for decades from the group Save TSU Community Coalition.
The NAACP will continue to advocate for equality and fairness for Tennessee State University. We will continue to reach out to lawmakers to seek justice.
It's in the sum of more than $500 million after it's found the only publicly funded historically black college was routinely underfunded for decades. Back in 2021, a bipartisan legislative committee report detailed how the state did not match federal land grants given to Tennessee State University as required by law.
Delay, delay, delay. We already see the double standard that's going on. We see it for what it is, and we're going to continue to push back against that.
2 years later, and those who support the university claim they still have not received that money.
Withholding of funds have now become embedded in the efforts of the state lawmakers to aggressively remove board members and to target a role model president.
My Owens, News 2.
The governor's office said $318 million was allocated to the university to note Governor Lee's commitment to TSU, including $250 million to support infrastructure improvements during the 2023 budget, the largest investment in the school's history. Stay with us. This week continues in a moment.